Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the sun, square, or opposition the moon in a natal chart. Now, first off, what I want to get at is I'm going to be kind of rewind. Some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects, the natal aspects in a chart, and they were a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first up, the conscious side, which is the sun, and the unconscious side, which is the moon, they're not in harmony or compatible. The thing about it is, if you have, like, say, a Taurus sun and a Scorpio moon, and then especially if you have the opposition aspect, you're talking about energy that would be diametrically opposed. The sun, is our basic fundamental character. The sun in Taurus would be, calm, steady, stable, persevering, wanting peace. But if you have the moon in Scorpio, the unconscious side is more, crisis, upheaval ridden, more about, wanting to make that emotional need to make that major change or transformation, where the side of the sun in Taurus is about keeping everything stable and status quo. And, Taurus, sun and Taurus can be rather impassive and stolid, but moon and Scorpio can be very, intense emotionally, sometimes even convoluted emotions, and have a lot of depth emotionally too. The thing about it is, though, this aspect can indicate incompatibility between the biological father, which is the sun, and the mother, which is the moon. And naturally, though, you got to look at the synastry, in the mother and father's chart, the biological father and the mother, and their own astrological synastry, and also for contraindicators in the chart, such as the Saturn, say if your Saturn makes a harmonious aspect to your moon. Now, another thing is there can also be an imbalance and conflict between what the basic wants are, which is the sun, and the emotional needs, which is the moon. Let's say if you have the sun in Cancer making an opposition to the moon in Capricorn, again, you have the energy being diametrically opposed. You have the sun in Cancer, the basic, what the person wants is more, introverted activities, home, safety, security. And then you have, the moon in Capricorn, where the emotional needs are more tied into, status, the career, attaining ambitions, doing things, in the outer, in the business world. And, you just have and also, you just have such the energy itself in general from personality standpoint is obviously very different. And another thing about this aspect, it could indicate difficulty, to get what you need, which is the moon in your life, which is the sun. If the sun is in Aquarius, as an example, that life can be one in which you express, a lot of altruism, selflessness, humanitarianism. And the thing about this as well is when you have this aspect in your chart, one of these aspects, I should say, if you have the sun square or opposite the moon in a natal chart, it may be difficult finding that drive and motivation, which is the sun, and really to do what you feel like, which is the moon. Let's say if you have the moon in Gemini as an example, what you may feel like doing often can be just manifold things, a wide divergence or variety of activities, or just taking some short trips, mimicry, or communicating, or assimilating and disseminating information, as some examples. And the thing is too, this could be also an imbalance between that expression of the conscious side, which is the sun, and the unconscious side, which is the moon. The thing about it is too, this when you have an aspect, when you have the sun square opposition the moon, it can also indicate more turbulent relationships with others. And the thing is, you can also have where the sun, being the biological father, and the moon is really, your unconscious side. So you could have a case where the biological father may not feel in harmony or be compatible fully with that unconscious side that you may express. If the moon is in Sagittarius, as an example, that unconscious side may be sometimes reckless or foolhardy, or being really optimistic, expansive, sometimes blunt to the point of embarrassing or demoralizing others as well, even though moon in Sagittarius people can be very jocular and jovial as well. And another thing is that there may be a vacillation in times between the self-reliance, which is the sun, and that desire to be nurtured and cared for, which is the moon. And the thing is, if you have, say again, say the moon in Gemini, the person may have that need to be cared for, just simply through mental stimulation, through communication. And it can be where, if you have this aspect where there may be some difficulty in expressing, which is the sun, the feelings, which is the moon. And if the moon is in Capricorn, as an example, those feelings can be ones that are, sad or melancholy or depressive, ones that are very serious as well. And there may be some difficulty in responding, which is the moon, to the biological father and dominant males in your life, which is the sun. And it can be where maybe some cases the difficulty may arise due to the person tending to their emotional needs, and that may have something to do with having the difficulty in responding to the biological father and dominant males. And another way this aspect may manifest could be the mother and family, which is the moon, may not be in agreement often with your actions, which are the sun. If the sun is in Pisces, a lot of those actions can be connected with rescuing, or things that involve sacrificing for others, actions that involve compassion, doing things more for others as opposed to oneself, and just acts of altruism in general. And another thing about this aspect too is that the person may be seen as arrogant, which may, by those that they're close to home with, which is the moon. And I would say even, home, family members as well. And you may not always feel like you have, the sun is about our vitality, can play a role in our vitality and energy. You may not always feel up, to have that energy, the vitality to do things that are connected, with your emotional needs. And let's say, if the moon is in Taurus, as an example, those emotional needs can be tied in to creature comforts, general peace, stability, things of a monetary nature. It might be doing something Taurus related, whether it's something with geology, architecture, cultivation, gardening, anything that could be Taurus related, as an example. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.